Welcome, everyone. Please be patient. We will begin in just a few minutes while everybody is getting allowed to be into the webinar. Welcome to Financial Aid Night. We will begin in a few moments. Thanks for coming tonight. We will begin in just a few moments. Good evening, everyone. We will be starting in a few moments. We are just allowing time for everyone to enter and get ready. Thank you for coming. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for coming. We'll get started in just a few moments. Welcome, everyone. We will get started in a few minutes, just about another minute. We'll get started at 6:05. Thank you for coming. We are just allowing enough time for everybody to get logged in and ready to view. Welcome. We'll just get started in a moment. All right, everybody. Welcome to Financial Aid Information Night 2024. My name is Jackie Hidalgo, and I'm your host for this evening. I'm the CCR advisor at Hightower High School, and I am joined by my fellow Fort Bend ISD CCR advisors tonight. Our district assistant director, Dr. LaShunda Page, as well as our guest speaker from Houston Community College. As a viewer, you will not be able to turn on your video, unmute your microphone, or open the chat feature. You will have the ability to submit questions using the Q&A button. Some of the questions that you may have will most likely be answered during the presentation. We ask that you just keep that in mind when submitting your questions. After we finish here tonight, We will create an FAQ document which will have all of the answers to your questions. This FAQ document will be sent with a recording of tonight's webinar by Friday of next week, the Friday before Thanksgiving starts. What you're seeing on the screen right now is our agenda for the evening. Becky Martinez from Travis High School will speak a little bit about scholarships and the financial aid graduation requirement. And then our guest speaker from Houston Community College, Chantel Williams, will take over and speak about financial aid and how to be successful with your submission for school year 25-26. So without further ado, I give you Ms. Martinez from Travis High School.
Hello, Fort Bend ISD, and thank you so much for tuning into our financial aid night. As we begin, we have 2 short videos that will help explain where we store all of our scholarships, how to request transcripts for scholarships, as well as how to upload your financial aid proof for your graduation requirements. So let's get started.
Now let's talk about scholarships. Students can find potential scholarship opportunities under the Financing tab in Scholarship Matching. Now, School Links automatically pulls scholarships from across the internet. But school staff can also add their own scholarship opportunities directly. That's not all. Local industry partners will also be able to add scholarship opportunities for your students. So with all these different opportunities, how will students find the scholarship that's the right fit for them? Well, to start, if a student knows the name of the scholarship, they can simply search it using the search feature. They can also filter to see scholarships that have been posted by the district to help them narrow down for local scholarships. Best of all, they can use the Matches tab to add their eligibility, interest, and potential college to be able to start sorting to find opportunities that are right for them. Once they've found an ideal scholarship, they can hit the favorite button to save it to their favorites list. And when they're ready to apply, hitting the apply button will take them directly to the application page for that scholarship.
Hello everyone, my name is Madison and I'm currently a senior at Ridgepoint High School. I'm currently active in the AVID program, and here at Ridgepoint we are an AVID demonstration school. That means that we pride ourselves heavily in college and career readiness. Last year we raised over $40 million in scholarships, and this year we hope to meet or exceed that goal. Now today I'll be talking to y'all about school links. We're going to learn about letters of recommendation, transcripts, scholarships, and how to submit all of those things to school links. Now, the first thing we're going to talk about are scholarships. In order to find scholarships that work for you, you're going to click on the Finances tab and click on Scholarship Matching. Now, once you've clicked those tabs, you're going to click on Eligibility. The Eligibility tab shows you what questions may help to find out what scholarships you're eligible for. And now that I have this tab filled out, I'm going to click on Interest. Now, once you have all of these interests filled out, you're going to click on Colleges. And now you're going to click View Matches. The best way to decide which scholarships you should fill out is to click on Sort By and Closest Deadline. Now, once you've clicked on that, you're going to see the scholarships that are due as soon as possible. Now that we've figured out how to fill out scholarships and where to find them, you're going to click on College Financing. Now we're going to talk about FAFSA. The FAFSA is required by the state of Texas as a graduation requirement, so it's very important that you have this filled out. Once you've completed the FAFSA, you're going to upload your confirmation. You get emailed a confirmation, and that's what you'll submit in this completion. Now that you know how to complete the FAFSA confirmation, you're going to go to third-party scholarships. This is where you find out how to submit both third-party and first-party scholarships. So you're going to click on Add Scholarship. Now there is a difference between third-party and first-party scholarships. Third-party scholarships are not provided by a specific university and can be used at different colleges. First-party scholarships are provided by the institution and can only be used at that particular institution. So, for example, if you're filling out a third-party scholarship, you would put in the scholarship name. For example, we're just going to put in scholarship. For scholarship provider, we're just going to put in institution. Now that we've put that in, we're going to say we've been awarded this scholarship. Here you're going to put whatever amount you've been awarded, say $20,000. Okay, $20,000 a year. Then you would answer, is this a one-time scholarship or renewable? You need to upload a copy of your scholarship award. Now, this can be a screenshot, but it's usually better to upload it as a file. Now that you've had that, press on Save Scholarship, and your scholarship is submitted. So these scholarships can be from schools that you've applied to, schools that you haven't applied to but that are interested in giving you an offer, either academically or athletically. Now that we've talked about that, we're going to talk about transcripts. Transcripts are very important because every school that you apply to is going to ask for them. Order a transcript by going to the Schools tab and clicking on Record Requests. Then you're going to go to Send Official Transcript. Now, this tab is not to be used if you're applying to a college. This is what you would use if you're applying to the military, scholarships, or for a job. Now, if you're sending it to the college address, like it says here, send here if it's for a non-certificate or degree granting program like dual credit or a summer program at colleges for pre-college experiences. Then you would send it from here, click whatever school you're interested in. If you'd like to send a transcript for your college application, go to College Applications Manager. From here, you can click on Recommendation Tracker, View All Requests. So this is where you will see who wrote your letters of recommendations. Now, these are most likely the people who you'll be reaching out to fill out your letter of recommendation for scholarships. The best way to get that letter of recommendation is to email the teacher that you'd like to fill out and then send them the list of scholarships that you've applied to and when the scholarship is due so that they can get that letter of recommendation to you by that time. Once again, my name is Madison, and thank you for listening to my presentation. I hope you learned a lot of things about scholarship matching and submission and the FAFSA form. Now, please continue to pay attention to the presentation so that you can learn how to correctly fill out your FAFSA and submit it, which is a graduation requirement.
All right. It's super important that students apply to as many scholarships as possible. The more you apply to, the better your odds are at receiving them. Also, as our seniors are applying to colleges, please be aware of the scholarship deadlines. At some colleges, you qualify for scholarships just by hitting the benchmarks when you apply. But the application and scholarship deadlines, more often than not, do not align. So get your applications in early. The Texas House Bill 3 states that all graduating seniors must complete the FAFSA, TASFA, or an opt-out form. Proof from one of these must be uploaded in school links in order to get credit for your graduation requirement. There are 3 ways you can upload your proof. As you can see on this slide, you can upload it from your to-do list. The second way is to update your FAFSA status from the Finances tab on the left of the school links. And on this slide, you can also upload your proof in the Colleges tab. You can choose whichever's easiest for you. Not only did the earlier video explain this, but we'll be sending out step-by-step instructions as well. At this time, I'd love to introduce you to our guest speaker, Chantel Williams, a financial aid officer from Houston Community College. I think you're muted.
Thank you. Sorry about that. My name is Chantel Williams. I'm from Houston Community College, the Stafford location. Tonight, we're going to talk about financial aid 2025-26 in order to get you guys ready for college, okay? You can proceed to the next slide. These are the things that we're going to go over tonight. What is FAFSA simplification? Terminology changes, 24-25 FAFSA changes, IRS DRT changes. What is a FAFSA contributor? EFC versus SAI. What is financial aid? The types of federal aid: grants, scholarship, loans, work study. We will talk about the FAFSA, how to apply, create a FAFSA ID, the parents' roles as the contributor. We're going to talk about sending your parents, which is the contributor, our invitation. We will talk about unusual and personal circumstances. We will talk about state aid, which includes the TASFA, Eagle Promise Program. We will talk about additional information and helpful resources and how you can contact us here at ATC, and if you have any questions for us. Next slide, please. FAFSA simplification, a new act that makes applying for federal aid more simplified. This year, the 24-25 school year, this is the first FAFSA makeover in over 40 years. It was a big issue. You might have heard about it on the news. We went through a lot of issues. They streamlined the application, which makes it easier for the student. They improved the FAFSA experience. They enhanced the IRS data sharing changes, and also they reduced the questions on the FAFSA. Next slide. We're going to talk about now terminology changes. The old FAFSA, there was a number at the end of the FAFSA when you completed the FAFSA. It was called EFC, which stands for Expected Family Contribution. Now it's called the SAI, Student Aid Index. That number there, that's a number that the government uses to do some calculations they have their own formula to tell if you're going to qualify for federal aid. Okay. The student aid report is, the abbreviation is SAR. Now the FAFSA submission summary is FSS. This is the outcome of the FAFSA when you finish completing the FAFSA. Internal Revenue Service, IRS, is the abbreviation. Data Retrieval Tool is the DRT. It's now called IRS Direct Data Exchange. Once your parents or you put in the information, if you file the tax return, 8 out of 10, it'll be automatically transferred over to the FAFSA. You won't have to manually enter your numbers. It doesn't work all the time. That's why I said 8 out of 10. Also, dependency override is for unusual circumstances. When we talk about unusual circumstances, we have some students, they might be homeless. They might not have communication with their parents, all sorts of stuff. A parent or a spouse is now referred to as a contributor. So when you hear me saying contributor, I'm talking about the parent or the spouse. Federal Student Aid Information Center, that's called FSAIC, also known as Federal State Aid. Provisional independent status is defined as having an unusual or personal circumstance when you fill out your FAFSA, but do not have all the required documentation. Even though you put on the FAFSA that you have an unusual circumstance, most schools will ask for backup documentation later on in your financial aid process. Federal tax information, the abbreviation is FTI, also known as the federal tax return. Next slide, please. Okay. So the 24-25 FAFSA changes. The FAFSA questions reduced from 108 to 46. That it made the form much shorter and very easy to complete. You can add up to 20 colleges. My advice to you, whatever college that you actually plan on going to, even though you're thinking about other colleges, try to make that college at least put them in the top 3. The streamlined format simplifies the application process, which makes it easier for the students and their families to apply for financial aid. Foster, homeless, and unaccompanied youth can complete the FAFSA with a provisional independent student determination and receive a calculated SAI, meaning if you have an unusual circumstance, the FAFSA does ask, some limited questions on there where you'll still know if you qualify for financial aid or not. If a contributor does not provide their consent, the student aid index, which is the SAI, will not be calculated and the student will not be eligible for aid. Next slide. RS data retrieval tool is now direct data exchange. Direct data exchange with the IRS will replace what we were currently using, which was the IRS data retrieval tool. Like I said, once the parents put in their social and other information, 8 out of 10, their tax information will automatically transfer over to the FAFSA. All required contributors must grant consent to provide their federal tax information, regardless if you file taxes or not. And this picture example to the left, that is the consent form that the parent will see when they're filling out their portion of the FAFSA. So you have to give your consent in order for the IRS to pull over your tax information. Next slide. Who is a FAFSA contributor? A contributor is you, your spouse, or your biological or adoptive parent, or your parent's spouse, who is required to provide information on the FAFSA form, sign the FAFSA form, provide consent and approval to have their federal tax information transferred directly from the IRS into the form. Students will be required to invite the contributor to complete their portion of the FAFSA, and I'll show you an example of that later. Next slide. Now we're going to talk about the EFC versus the SAI. The EFC is on the old FAFSA application. Like I said, it was called the expected family contribution, parents' contribution from income and assets, student contribution from income and assets divided by the number in college. Now we have the SAI, which is the student aid index, parents' contribution from income and assets, students' contribution from income and assets. Assets include child support received, forms, businesses. Those are considered assets. SAI can be a negative number as low as negative 1,500. However, a negative SAI number does not result in additional need-based aid. If you actually see negative 1,500 after you finish completing the FAFSA, that actually means that you will receive the full Pell Grant for the 25-26 award year. Next slide. What is financial aid? Financial aid is monetary assistance that helps students and their family pay for college. The assistance covers additional expenses, which includes tuition and fees, room and board, books and supplies, and transportation. There are several types of financial aid that can come from federal, state, and institutions like HEC or whatever college you're going to, including grants, scholarship, work-study programs, and loans. Next slide. Types of federal aid. Types of financial aid consist of grants, scholarships, work-study, and loans. All of these are considered financial aid, which is federal aid. Next slide. Let's talk about grants. Grants is federal Pell Grant. The federal Pell Grant is the free money that you can receive from the FAFSA and you do not have to pay it back. The Federal Supplement Education Opportunity Grant, that's for undergraduate students with exceptional financial aid needs. The Texas Education Opportunity Grant, same thing as is for undergraduates with exceptional financial aid needs also. Those two grants right there, normally the state, what they do is award each college with so much amount of money every award year, and that college looks at your financial aid profile and they determine who gets the money, and they try to divide it up between the number of students they have on campus. No, it's not going to be an even amount. Somebody might get $1,000, you might get 500. It is based upon your need, okay? Texas Public Education Grant. The Texas Public Education Grant, it is a financial aid need. You have to be enrolled at least 3/4 time of the award year. The Teach Grant. The Teach Grant, you can receive up to $16,000 for an undergraduate student for the entire 4 years that you're in school, or either $8,000 as a graduate. Also, we have other state grants and institutional grants. Institutional grants are grants that's given to the institution. You might have somebody who have a lot of money and they say, hey, I'm gonna donate you maybe $1 million this year. And so we have, again, they'll look at your financial aid profile and see if you qualify to receive some of that money. And they try to divide it up as much as they can with the students that's on campus. Next slide. Scholarships. Scholarships, organizations related to your field of interest, ethnic base, your employer, or your parents' employer. Which means like your mom might work, let's say, for example, MD Anderson. MD Anderson might give out scholarships to high school graduate students. So that's something your parents probably want to look into on their job to see if you qualify for a scholarship through their job. Not only their job, you might be working part-time at Kroger. Kroger might be giving, scholarships for students who are graduating from high school. Also, religious or community organizations. Your church might be giving out scholarships. Now is the time to ask. Not summertime, not a week before you go to school. Now is the time to ask. Some businesses or civic groups give out scholarships, other institutions. So just always ask. Don't be afraid to ask. No question is a dumb question. Just ask, hey, do you offer scholarships? Be aware of potential scholarships scams. The following sites are excellent resources to identify potential scholarships scams. I have the financial aid link here and the Federal Trade Commission link. Also, you can Google all types of scholarships. If I have any left-handers out there, there is a left-handed scholarship. I know I received one time. It was $500, but the $500 did help pay for some books. You can, let's say, you're going into the healthcare field. Let's say a guy is going into nursing, male student, want to take nursing. Just Google, you'll be surprised at what you guys find. While you're sitting up on those cell phones, your best friend, just Google, see what you can find. There are lots of scholarships out there you wouldn't even believe, okay? Next slide. There are work-study programs. Here at ACC, it's based on a demonstrated need. You have to have a financial aid need. Student can work on or off campus. You'll work 19 and a half hours per week, and the money will be paid directly to the student, and the pay is $15 an hour. So we'll again take a look at your financial aid profile and see if you have what we call a need base. If so, for example, we still have to do some calculations. For example, you might have a need base of $6,500. Well, you'll get to work as a work study, the 19 and a half hours a week, $15 an hour, but you can't go over that 6,500. Once you reach the limit of that 6,500, your job will end for that semester, but you will be able to apply every semester as long as you are a need-based student, okay? Next page, please. Let's talk about loans. We have two different types of loans. Let's say you're going to a 4-year university or another university where you have to stay on campus. The Pell Grant might not be enough to cover everything you need. So therefore, you would apply for a student loan if money is kind of tight. For the student, we have what we call a direct subsidized and a direct unsubsidized loan. The subsidized loan, the government pays the interest for the student as long as the student go to school. Say, for instance, you're going to ACC. You go to ACC for 2 years and you transfer over to U of H, which is a 4-year university. On that subsidized loan, the government will continue to pay the interest. You don't start paying the loans back till 6 months after you graduate from the program or 6 months after you stop attending college. We also have a PLUS loan. A PLUS loan is a parent loan for undergraduate students. The PLUS loan is based upon the parent's credit. It does go by your credit. They do a credit check, but the interest rate is much lower than if you were to actually go to a bank and ask for a loan. Right now, the interest rate on a subsidized and an unsubsidized loan is 6.53%, and on the PLUS loan is 9.08%. In order to receive student loans, you have to be at least enrolled in 6 or more credits, at least 6 credits. The loans have to be accepted by the student and also on the FAFSA website, which is www.studentloans.gov. You would have to complete what we call a master promissory note, which is the actual loan application. And you also have to complete entrance counseling. Entrance counseling is where you'll read some information about student loans, where you'll learn all the ins and outs. And after you finish reading the material, you will answer some questions at the end. Next slide, please. FAFSA. FAFSA stands for Free Application for Federal Student Aid. We have a QR code that's there, but the website again is studentaid.gov. Next slide. How do I apply for FAFSA? Always use, which is this link here, studentaid.gov. Never pay to fill out a FAFSA application. Also, on the application, there is an estimate for your eligibility to see how much money that you might receive. There's an estimate on there, and it shows you right here to the left on this picture. It's gonna ask you a few questions. If you want to do the estimate, it'll ask you some questions, and then it'll calculate, but it is only an estimate. You will not know what you're going to receive until you actually fill out the FAFSA form. Next slide. In order to fill out a FAFSA form, you have to create an FSA ID. The student has to complete a FSA ID and the contributor. Again, the contributor is the parent or the caregiver, whoever is responsible for the student. Student and contributors must provide consent to complete the 25-26 FAFSA. To do this, each must create an FSA ID via the student aid website link, Create FSA ID. When you create the FSA ID, student and contributor parent, please listen. Do not use the same email address. Do not use the same phone number. The student need to have their own address, own phone number. The parent need to have their own email address and own phone number. It has to be 2 separate accounts. Next slide. You must create your FSA ID before you can successfully complete your application. Contributors of dependent students will also need to create an FSA ID to sign the application. You have to enter your personal information. Do not guess at your Social Security number, because this will be ran through the Social Security Administration. If that number does not match, your application will be kicked back. You have to have the correct date of birth, your first name, middle initial, and last name. Your name is the name that's on your Social Security card. That is your name. No matter what you think your name is, it's what's on your Social Security card. This will be ran through the Social Security Administration. Be sure to accurately enter your information. Only the student and the contributor should create a FSA ID. And you should never give anybody your username and password. Next slide. So this chart here shows what parents should be a contributor on the FAFSA. FAFSA looks at the parent marital and tax filing status to determine which parent needs to create a FSA ID and provide consent on the FAFSA. So you need to think about, are the parents married or do the parents just live together? To be honest, parent, you need to go by however you file your tax return. If on your tax return is married filing jointly, that needs to match the FAFSA, married filing jointly. If it's married filing separately or head of household, all information has to match. If it does not match, it will be kicked back, it will be flagged, it will cause other problems. If you're not sure, you can stop in the middle of that application. It will save the information that you have already entered. You can get some help from FSAID, or you can contact one of the colleges or HCC Financial Aid Department so we can assist you with that part. Next slide. Is my parent a contributor when I fill out my FAFSA form? Alternate contributor chart example. Are you the biological or adoptive parent married to each other? Do your biological or adopted parents live together? Did one parent provide more financial support over the past 12 months? So the question is, who should be your contributor? Whomever provided more than 50% of your financial support for the year, that needs to be your contributor on the FAFSA form. Next slide. Contributors asked to provide information on the aid application include the student, spouse, student parent, or step parent. All required FAFSA contributors must have an FSA ID to log into the form and provide consent. The student's answers on the FAFSA will determine the contributor. These examples of the slides that's here will be on the FAFSA form in case you get confused and you need to figure out, okay, well, I live with my mom, but my dad lives over there. He's married to Susie, but him and my mom said they both gonna pay for me to go to college. If you live with your mom and your mom is supplying your shelter and more than 50%, you need to use your mom as your contributor. But it's case by case scenario. So I can't sit here on this presentation and tell you if X, Y, and Z, your mom or your dad should be your contributor, because it's case by case scenario. It depends on your living situation. So like I said, these examples here, they are on the FAFSA form to help you determine who your contributor is. Next slide. This example here shows the contributor invitation. When the student is filling out their FAFSA, they will need to invite the parent or the spouse to fill out this information. The parent or the spouse will receive an invitation email and they will log in with their own FSA ID and they will complete all the contributor information. You see where it says parent one is in the example, it says parent and other parent. So if there's two parents in the household, say a mom and a dad or a mom and a stepdad, so you'll have to put your mom as one and your stepdad or your dad as another one, or vice versa. If you live with your dad and a stepmom, you would have to put both of their information on there. first name, last name, date of birth, social, email address. If the parent does not have a social, you can use what we call a EIN number, the number that they probably filed taxes with, or you can put all zeros if your parent does not have a social. Next. This section is shared with two contributors. You see, this person was in a two-parent household, and they were sent an invitation. As you can see, it tells you that the invitation was sent to those two parents, but really only one parent have to accept. Both of them don't need to fill it out. Only one parent can fill it out. It doesn't matter. They will click on the invite and they will fill out the parent section. Once they fill out the parent section, they will sign and date. And the FAFSA will be complete because the student will fill out their portion first. Then they will send the invite to the contributor. The contributor will fill out their portion, sign and date, and it will be complete. The FAFSA does track all steps. You can always look on there when you log in. It will tell you when the FAFSA was completed. It'll tell you if any information is missing or anything like that. Next slide. What if you have an unusual or personal student circumstance? We have example on the screen. The FAFSA asks, do unusual circumstance prevent the student from contacting their parents, or would their parents pose as a risk to the student? These are some examples of an unusual circumstance. Say you're a foster home, say you under foster care, you're homeless, you're an unaccompanied youth, you still can fill out the FAFSA application. You still have a chance to go to school. Don't be afraid to reach out to your school counselor, someone in the financial aid department. That's why the FERPA law protects you. If you have an unusual circumstance, don't let that stop you from going to college to get where you need to be. There is help out there for you. Once you fill out this, if you say you have an unusual circumstance, you put yes, it automatically flags your FAFSA. And what it does, it lets you know to reach out to a financial aid administrator at the college that you plan on going to. Once you reach out to that administrator, you would have to follow up with that office because they're going to ask you for additional documentation and ask you a couple of questions. The questions are not to be nosy or discuss with others. The questions are to see how we can best assist you in getting you the aid that you need in order to go to school to be successful. Do not be shy about it. You're not the first and you're not the last. Financial aid is here to help. Next slide. State aid. What is TASFA? The Texas application for state financial aid, TASFA. TASFA is used to collect information to help determine eligibility for state financial aid programs that are administered by institutions of higher education in the state of Texas for undocumented students. If we have any undocumented students, you will not fill out the FAFSA. You will fill out the TASFA with a T. If you have questions, if you don't know Whether you undocumented or not, if it's not clear to you, please reach out to a financial aid administrator or your counselor. We can assist. It's no reason to not have your FAFSA or TASFA completed. There is help, there is assistance out there. Next slide. The TASFA is just like the FAFSA, but it's TASFA, as I stated before, is for undocumented students, so it's handled in a different way, okay? In order to apply for the TASFA, there are requirements. You have to be then graduated or will graduate from a Texas public or private high school or receive the equivalent of a high school diploma in the state of Texas. You must reside in Texas for at least 36 months leading up to your graduation date from high school. Have resided or will reside in Texas for 12 months prior to the census date of the semester in which the student will enroll in college. Also with the TASFA, you have to sign an affidavit of intent to become a permanent resident provided by the college that states the student has filed or will file an application to become a permanent resident at the earliest opportunity the student is eligible to do so. Next slide. The 2526 HCC TASFA checklist. These are the things that HCC requires in order for TASFA students to complete their application. You would have to complete the 2526 TASFA application. With that, we would need your parent and the student 23 tax return transcript. If the parent nor the student did not file, we need an IRS non-filing letter. Again, if the parent did not file a tax return, we need an IRS non-filing letter. And you can get that from the IRS office. If you're a male student, we need a card saying that you registered for selective service. Also, you will need to complete the residency affidavit. The residency affidavit has to be notarized. And you should be able to get that information from any college that you're going to or any university. For the independent students, which the independent students, which are the parents who does not need their parents, they would need to complete the 2526 TASFA application, the student 23 tax return or IRS non-filing letter, also a selective service card, and the residency affidavit. So these are the things that has to be turned in with the TASFA application. This is what HCC requires. If you're going to another university and you're an undocumented student, I strongly suggest that you get with that university to see what they have to offer the undocumented students and the necessary paperwork that's needed. Next slide. Type of aid for TASFA applicants. We still have the state grants, which is the free money. We have the Texas Education Opportunity Grant, the Texas Public Education Grant. We have institutional aid, institutional scholarships, and a variety of scholarships available for undocumented students. All of this is free money. Also, TASFA students are still able to apply for federal work study. Same rules apply. You can work 19 and a half hours a week, $15 an hour on campus and off campus, and you will be paid, but it depends on your need. The FAFSA and the TASFA is pretty much the same, but the TASFA is just a different application for undocumented students. Go back one for me. Okay. Eagle Promise Program. Eagle Promise is something that we have here at HCC. We will give a student for your tuition fees and a book allowance up to $500 each semester. The qualifications, as is stated on the screen, graduate high school in spring. So you would have had graduated in high school spring of 25. Your high school GPA has to be 2.0 or higher. You must be a Texas resident, and you have to at least be enrolled in 9 semester hours. 9 semester hours, that's about 3 classes to see if you qualify for this program. And you have to commit to complete. Commit to complete is, hey, I'm signing this Eagle Promise and I'm committed to my program. I am going to complete and I am going to graduate HCC. And that's the Eagle Promise. That's additional free money that you would not have to pay back. Next slide.
Chantel, we just have a few more minutes. I don't want to interrupt you,
ma'am.
but I just want to let you know there's only a few more minutes, then
Okay.
we'll be ending. So,
This will be the last one.
okay.
This is our QR code. You can visit our webpage. All this information that I just went over is available to you on the HCC website. Also, we are available at the campuses only Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. If you guys want to come with a parent one day, if you need assistance in completing a FAFSA, or if you have financial aid questions, or you can get on our website. We do have what we call a Zoom room. You can ask your questions virtually. And the Zoom room is open Monday through Friday from 9 to 5. And I thank you, and I hope you got some helpful information out this presentation.
Thank you so much, Chantal.
You're very welcome.
And that's the other thing. All right. As we get ready to close here, I just wanted to put up the CCRA contact information. We have all 12 of our high schools listed with the CCRA and the CCRA's email address. This will be recorded, or it has been recorded. We will take all of the questions from the frequently and create a frequently answered questions document. And so we thank you for joining us tonight. If you need any assistance, because a lot of people were in there saying it was going fast, you can reach out to your CCRA contact. We thank you for joining us tonight. We thank Ms. Chantel for joining us tonight. But please reach out to your CCRA if you need anything else, and have a great afternoon.
We also have financial aid resources listed for you. You can scan this QR code. It's up and active right now, and it has a lot of the screenshots that Chantal had in her presentation for you to look at a little more in depth, as well as some other links that might be helpful. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We hope that you have a successful FAFSA application season. Thank you so much for joining us.